think we're ready. Good evening, everyone. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Wilmette Zoning Board of Appeals. Ms. Roberts, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Colang.
Here.
Mr. Pelleton.
Here.
Mr. Sermon.
Here.
Chairman Schneider.
Here. For those of you new to our proceedings, the purpose of this board is to hear evidence on applications for variances from our zoning ordinance and on applications for special use. Based upon the evidence we hear this evening, we will make a recommendation to the Village Board of Trustees as to whether the applications that come before us this evening should be granted or denied. We will vote to recommend granting or denying each application for variation based on whether the application meets the standards of review set forth in Section 5.4.f of our village ordinance. Applications for special use will be considered based on whether the standards of review set forth in Section 5.3.e of our village ordinance are met. The Village Board of Trustees will consider the recommendations we make this evening at the next regularly scheduled meeting, which is January 14th, 2020. Our recommendations to the board are advisory only. The Village Board has final say on all applications and will make its own determination as to whether to grant or deny them. The Village Board is not legally bound by our recommendations. There's one small exception to this rule. If this board makes a negative recommendation with respect to an application, in order for the Village Board of Trustees to approve the application, a supermajority of 5 of 7 Village Board members must vote to approve it, rather than a simple majority of 4. There's one other small peculiarity to our proceedings of which you should be aware. This board does not operate by a majority vote. We operate instead by a tyranny of 4. In other words, no matter how many board members are present on a given evening, in order to get a positive recommendation from this board, an application must receive at least 4 affirmative votes. Since we have only 4 members present, all of us must obviously approve in order to get an affirmative recommendation. Since we do not have all members present tonight, we give the applicants who are scheduled to come before us tonight the option of requesting a continuance to the next available date on our schedule. The next available date for any applicant who would like to request a continuance this evening is January 15th of next year. There's no penalty for asking for a continuance. No such request will be held against you when your case is eventually heard. If you wish to ask for a continuance, however, you must do so at the beginning of your presentation before making any substantive arguments as to the merits of your case. Please also be aware that if you request a continuance, there's no guarantee as to how many board members will be present on the evening to which your case is continued. The cases which we shall hear this evening will be heard in the order set forth on the pre-printed agenda located on the table next to the door where you first came in. When your case is called, please proceed to the podium, state your name and address, and tell us exactly why your application meets the standards of review that are applicable to it. Each member of this board is a longtime resident of the village and has visited your property during the past week. In addition, we have received from the village staff these green booklets containing all written information that you have submitted in support of your application, as well as other correspondence the village has received. Accordingly, it is not necessary that you repeat what you have already stated in writing. Please hit the high points with particular attention to why you believe your application meets the standards of review. After the applicant has had a chance to speak, we will open the podium to others who wish to speak. Everyone will be permitted to have their say, though we would ask that you keep your comments as short and to the point as possible. After we have heard all oral presentations, I will close the evidence and the members of the board will discuss what they have heard and take a vote. Once the evidence is closed, no further testimony on an application may be offered. The only people entitled to speak during that part of the proceeding will be the members of the board. This meeting is a legal proceeding, and all testimony tonight must be given under oath. If you are here and planning to testify tonight, I would ask you to raise your right hand this time and be sworn. I see 4, 5. Do you swear and affirm that you will tell the truth in the testimony that you're about to give? If so, please say, I do.
I do.
Ms. Roberts, will you please call the first case of the evening?
Our first case is 2019 C44, 735 Leamington. The applicants are here.
Good evening.
Please state your name and address.
My name is Brenda Remes. My address is 735 Leamington, Wilmette, Illinois, 60091.
My name is Herman Criollo, also resident 735 Leamington Avenue, Wilmette.
Okay, this is our first time doing this, so we are not sure what to follow, but we are requesting a table for February 19?
Oh, I thought January 15th.
January,
Yeah.
January 5th. Okay, yeah, so I don't know if I need to explain anything there. No, that's it?
I think we're good.
Okay.
So do I have a motion?
Yeah, move to defer this case until January 15th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This case is deferred until January 15th. Thank you
Thank you.
for coming in.
We'll talk. Our
The
next
case?
Our next case is 2019 Z35, 1 Indian Hill Road. The applicant was at the last meeting and was asked to revise their plans. They are still working on that, and we are going to be asking them to renotice to the neighbors, so they need a little more time, and have requested that the case be tabled to February 5th.
Have a motion?
Move to continue the Indian Hill matter until February 5th, 2020.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next case?
Our next case is 2019 Z46, 3207 Lake Avenue, Unit 10A. This is a request for a special use for a small medical dental clinic to permit the operation of a dental clinic.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Alexandra Glodek, 807 Bronson Lane, Highland Park. Okay. I'm asking, thank you for the consideration for this special permit to operate small dental practice in Westlake Plaza. As you may know, I'm following in the footsteps of several dentists before me who operated practice at this particular location. I'm very excited because because my family and I live in very nearby, and we already use the Westlake Plaza services often. The practice I'm proposing will operate as a small boutique dental office and will provide most up-to-date dental therapies using modern equipment. The patients will be seen one at a time in order to ensure the highest quality of care. I will provide mostly general but also advanced dentistry services that will concentrate on cosmetic, restorative, and preventative therapies for people of all ages. I'm planning to remodel the space to make it handicap accessible and to give it a modern look and relaxing atmosphere. To be the most convenient and the most accessible for the community members, I will be a preferred provider for many PPO insurance networks that will provide coverage, that already provide coverage to many local employees. This will not be operating as a Medicaid office. The office will be open during retail hours, including evenings and weekends, which will allow busy families to be able to access dental care without missing school or work. As I mentioned, I'm an active member of the local community, and I would like my practice to be, community-oriented and support local businesses and organizations. Thank you.
Any questions? for the applicant?
I just have a question. The previous dentist was in there. Did they have the same number of rooms for procedures?
The previous dentist who was there, who left,
Yeah.
do they have the same number of rooms right now?
Number of OPT rooms.
You mean the one that I'm proposing?
No, the one before you. I was just curious if there was any change. Did they have 4 chairs before? Do you know what they had?
No, they had, the office is there, it has 3 chairs,
Oh, okay.
and I'm planning to keep it that way as well.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Mhm.
I have a question.
Sure.
You mentioned that you were going to see one patient at a time, but you have 3 chairs.
Yeah, meaning that it will not be operated like as a medical office where people are just booked. People will be booked one at the time, not triple booked or quadruple booked. So it will be more like a boutique style dental practice.
How many staff people will there be?
I will
in
have
addition
one.
to yourself?
We meet a dentist, front desk representative, and dental assistant. So 3 at the time, at the most.
And that does not differ much from the previous occupant?
Yes, I think it will be smaller, it will be less. From what I remember, Dr. Limpieris, he had more staff, also the hygienist, and probably 2 dentists also.
Okay, I don't have any other questions. I do have one comment that the plan is not, just so you're aware, is not fully ADA compliant.
We are
If that's your goal.
Yes, it is my goal, and we are fully aware of that. And there will be modifications to the plan, just to fit. You're probably talking about the hall, the width of the hall,
And the washroom, but that's outside of our, I'm an architect, that's outside of our
Oh, okay.
responsibility as a zoning
Absolutely.
member, but I just
So-
wanted to make
so-
you aware of it.
I know exactly what you mean. In essence, the structure will be the same. 3 operatories, 1 washroom.
Sure.
It just will be, the partitions will be changed a little bit, yeah. Mhm.
But the bathroom isn't currently, just so you know, is not ADA compliant.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are no other questions, thank you very much. You
Thank
can
you.
sit down and
Mhm.
see if there's anyone else that would wish to speak on this application. Seeing no one, do you have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. I move to recommend granting a request for a special use for a medical/dental clinic, small, to permit the operation of the dental clinic at 3207 Lake Street, Unit 10A, in accordance with the plan submitted. Zoning Board of Appeals must determine if the use runs with the land or the use it runs with the use.
I'll second that.
Okay, this is a fairly straightforward case because it was previously used as a dental. There's not going to be any increase from the past use in the way of parking, which would be something we typically focus on. So I'm glad that the space is getting leased up, so I can support it.
And I should have asked this before, but I assume that the parking that's available in the mall area, the plaza area, is available to your clients.
Yes, I believe so. With me is the representative of the landlord, Brendan Reedy. Maybe he will be able to tell you more specifically about it. But yes, there is enough parking for patients for this
Because as Mr.
practice.
Sermon said, if there is no parking available, then that would change our perspective on it substantially.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Brendan Reedy, 1810 Wagner Road, Glenview, Illinois. I'm the representative of the ownership that leases the shopping center. And yes, the parking for the doctor would be open and free as it is for the rest of the occupants of the shopping center.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I, too, think that this complies with the special use guidelines. It replaces a similar use, and so there is not much difference, and so I can support it as well. Can we call for a vote?
Mr. Sermon,
Yes.
Mr. Pelletin,
Yes.
Mr. Colang,
Yes.
Chairman Schneider.
Yes. So this is a positive recommendation to the zoning board, who will take this up. I assume it will be part of the consent agenda, but you never know. So it would be probably wise to show up, and that would be on
January 14.
January 14th.
I move to authorize the chairman to prepare the report and recommendation for the zoning board of appeals for case number 2019-C-46.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Do they need to come up and sign?
No, I forgot to point
Oh.
them out. I'll send you a
Thank you very
confirmation
much.
about the village board date.
Call the next case, please.
Our next case is 2019 Z45, 1111 Central Avenue. This is a request for a special use for an art studio to permit the operation of a dance studio.
First, I just want to thank all of you guys for taking the time out of your schedules to be able to hear my case. My name is Jana Bennett. I was born and raised in Chicago's North Shore, and I am a professional dancer, choreographer, and I'm the former artistic director of the esteemed Foster Dance Studios in Evanston. A year and a half ago, I left Foster to start my own dance studio, Skunkworks Dance. And what we offer is pre-professional dance training for youth ages 3 all the way to 18. We offer adult classes. Additionally, we offer specialty programs such as our Ballet for Figure Skaters program, which caters to pre-Olympic and high competitive figure skaters, teaching them ballet. This past semester, we've been extraordinarily lucky to be able to operate our first full session right here in the Village Center. A huge thank to Actors Training Center and Carol, who's here as well. We've been renting out of their storefront studio, and we've had an extraordinarily successful first semester. So successful that actually we really are in that spot where we need our own space. And so what I'm here to do today is to request a special use permit for my dance studio, Skunkworks Dance, at the 1111 Central Avenue location. You've already heard a lot about this in our letters. I'm just going to highlight a few points today. So before I even started Skunkworks Dance, I plotted every single dance studio on the North Shore, and essentially what I found was that there were only 2 pre-professional dance studios, both of them were in Evanston towards the Chicagoland border. Additionally, Wilmette actually had a lot less dance studios than many of the neighboring towns. And obviously, being from the North Shore and knowing this area, I know that there's a high love for the arts and high education as laid out by the comprehensive plan. And so to me, it really spoke that there was a need for an elite level dance studio right here in Wilmette. When we were looking for our space, 1111 Central really spoke to us. Number one, we're already operating here in the Village Center, and so we know the clientele. We've been talking to customers, the businesses, and I assure you that I know our business is going to fit in. Additionally, 1111 Central was a former dance fitness studio, so it's built out perfectly. We don't have to do any build out, as well as our customer, like any other dance studio, is essentially youth and their parents. And so we really believe that we can bring value, especially on this block of Central, where you have businesses like Lad and Lassie, Actors Training Center, the Wilmette Theater, the Wilmette Wine Cellar, that we have the customers that can bring value, foot traffic, and therefore revenue to these businesses. I've already seen it happen, because again, we're here. I've seen our customers go after classes and go grab bites to eat around the corner. And I've seen them come out of their adult dance classes feeling great and grab that sweater from Hubba Hubba.
Where are you now? Excuse me for interrupting.
Yeah.
You're saying you're...
The Actors Training
Actors Training Center storefront studio at 1157 Wilmette Avenue. 1157. So, yeah, 1157. Thank you, Carol.
1157.
Yes.
Where is that?
where Leonidas used to be?
Well, actually, where the cupcake store used to be, right?
Well, it's
Yeah,
a couple of generations now, yeah.
Right.
How to best to describe it? Opposite the laundromat on Wilmette Avenue.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, is it right next to Pescadero or not?
No.
No, it's actually next to the yogurt store, 2 doors
Oh,
down.
got it.
Yeah,
I knew it was
Romero.
one of those. Okay.
So how long have you been operating there?
Yeah, we've been operating there since September of this year.
Okay, thank you.
So our hours for Skunkworks Dance are going to be from 9:30 to 11:15, and then from 4:15 to 9:15 p.m. on weekdays, and then 9 to 5 on weekends. The main way we make our money is through our studio classes, our performing companies, but we also will be selling merchandise, which will create sales tax for this village. In terms of any traffic concerns, we've been very diligent. We're putting our waiting room and our front desk area towards the back of the building. So what that essentially is going to do is make sure that there's no drop-off traffic happening on Central Avenue, which will make sure that there's no traffic congestion. Additionally, we will be telling all of our customers to park at the Burmeister and the Metro parking lots, both verbally, but we also list it very clearly on our website right now. I also would like to address the letter from Kathy Liu of Melody Spa. As you can see in the supplemental addendum, there's a wonderful letter from our landlord. And our landlord in this letter really talks about how confident they feel that our two businesses can fully coexist next to each other. They even are so in favor of having Skunkworks Dance at 1111 Central Avenue that they're willing to put in the money and put a full soundproof wall between our two businesses. Additionally, it's really important to note that even though we are a dance studio, we're not playing music all the time like a soul cycle class. We even have dance styles that don't even have music. And additionally, we don't use microphones, so the volume always has to stay below an easy speaking level. And I also just like to say, too, that no matter what business goes in there, whether it's a restaurant, retail, or service, a reasonable amount of sound is going to be made. Just in conclusion, I just have to say how much I've loved Wilmette, and it's been a joy for me to be able to be here, and every single day I come to work, and it's just a joy. What I'm bringing with Skunkworks, it's not just a new business, but a business that's going to be here for many and many years to come and become a staple of this community. Because we offer a premium level product, our customers come from affluent areas that can really invest in this community. Additionally, they're not just from Wilmette, but they're also from everywhere from Lincoln Park to a Northbrook. And so they're bringing their business, shopping, eating, business here that otherwise would be elsewhere. I would like to thank you guys for your time, and I hope that you vote in favor of our special use permit. I welcome your questions.
I guess what my first question is, the size of the classes, the number.
Absolutely. That's a great question. So we have a cap at 20, though I think it's really important to note so we're really into this idea of quality versus quantity growth because we are a pre-professional studio, and actually every single one of our classes requires permission from our teacher and is overseen by me as well. Currently our average class size is 3.5 students, so it's small, and we don't foresee us getting crazy large for a very, very long time because we are specific about who's coming into our classes as well.
So another question, how are you going to encourage people to use the entrance off the parking lot in the back of the building?
Absolutely. So one of the things that we're going to do is we're obviously deadbolting that first door, but we're planning on putting a huge sign that's very visual, very captivating. It says, "Hey, go around the other side." And additionally, I have to say, most of my customers are not they don't just come off the street. Most of them call us first to find out about our programming. So that's something that either me or my administration director will make sure that we're constantly telling people within our phone calls before they come and visit us.
And the landlord has provided parking in the several spaces in the back of the building as well?
So we do not have any spaces that are adjudicated to us, but it is an 18-spot parking lot with 4 hours average of parking. But like I said, the Burmeister lot is literally a 2-minute walk. Yeah. And if you look on our website, we literally have the clear walking patterns, the amount of time. The farthest lot is 5 minutes away, which is really not a problem at all.
Okay.
Question, have you had any complaints from your neighbors in your current space?
No, we have not.
You mentioned that the landlord will soundproof the wall to the east.
Yeah.
Is there any criteria that he will meet in terms of decibel levels and so forth? Do you know?
That's a great question. You know, he hasn't laid out any criteria, but I have done a ton of research. I called many different soundproofing companies, and I actually found 2 contractors. I'm working on a third that specialize in these type of businesses and have worked with dance studios in similar area businesses. And there's a very particular way that everyone tends to do with dance studios, and it's very, very, and all the contractors really assured me that it works very, very well, and they feel extraordinarily confident that it'll subside any noise major issues.
Does, I wasn't in the space, but does the wall go up to the underside of the structure? Do you know, or
That's a good question. I do not know.
Does the wall needs to?
Do you have a ceiling like this in the space, or a drywall ceiling? A drop ceiling?
I think it's a drop ceiling.
So then the wall probably wouldn't, well, it might.
Yeah, if there's a drop I mean, the contractors will know, but I mean, you need to have that wall go up to the underside of structure.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it won't work very well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Go over the top. And I'm sorry, I was taking notes, but I missed, on your weekdays, your morning hours were 9:30 to 11:15, and then later on at
4:15 to 9:15 p.m.
4:15 to 9:15 p.m. Okay.
So currently, I mean, how many people do you have there kind of at each of those times? How many instructors are there? How many students are there? Do parents hang out and watch?
Good question. Yeah, so on average, so again, our average class size is 3.5 students. Probably will go up to, I would say, 4.5 this coming semester. What you're really going to have is a front desk person, and then you're going to have that one instructor. So you're having 2 faculty staff, and then, you know, you will have parents that definitely hang around. To be very frank, most are stuck there for the hour, so they're much more likely to go and shop around or go and grab a bite to eat.
Did you say 4.5 students?
3.5.
4.5.
4.5?
Yes, for next semester.
Last one is very small.
What about at your night classes? Are there more people in night class?
It's really about the same overall. Yeah, it's a pretty consistent number.
Let me ask Lisa, will the village, the inspector, will they opine on the quality of the soundproofing?
Probably not.
So who will determine as to whether it is effective or not?
It's really a landlord-tenant issue, so the building inspector, plan reviewer will make sure that the plans are complete and that the installation is done the way the plans were approved. But if the work is found to be inadequate, that's going to be something that the tenants will have to take up with the landlord to further address.
But plans will be submitted to the village?
A building permit would be required and inspections, yeah.
And that will include specifications and details on the soundproofing?
I would expect so, yes.
Do we have representation from the landlord here?
We do not.
Okay.
Did you say you hope to grow these classes to 20 students?
Our cap is 20, but that's not my goal. My goal, I really believe, as a pre-professional studio, in really, we like to work on an individual basis. And so, no, my goal is personally to keep classes small.
So how would you reach a cap of 20? How would that occur?
So we put that cap on because we also operate Ballet for Figure Skaters classes out of the Skokie Stadium, which is a much bigger space. And so those classes actually are a bit larger, but those are fully at that Skokie Stadium location. Like I said, you know, all of us teachers were really monitoring who's coming into classes. And essentially, you know, a class of 20 may occur, you know, I would say it's got to be at least 5-6 years down the road if something of that were to occur.
Can I ask, do you know, because it wasn't apparent from the drawing, what the wall surface adjoining the spa would be?
I'm not, like, currently.
No, in its finished form.
what it
Are you
would
going to
be.
have mirrors all along the wall, or?
So the wall adjoining the spa is not going to be the wall with mirrors. Mirrors is actually on the opposite side of the wall, and they're already there from the former tenant. Essentially, it would just be the soundproof wall. I do have, one of my contractors did give me a bunch of photos of essentially what that process is. I'd be happy to present those to you guys if you would like. Essentially, all we're going to have is the speakers on that wall. So I did talk to a sound engineer, and actually what you want is you want the sound going away from that space. So there's not going to be anything else but those speakers.
And the reason I ask is because if there is a problem with the inadequacy of the wall as built, then if you wanted to apply something to that wall, in addition, some sound absorbent material, if it was covered with mirrors, that would be a problem.
Right, no, and it's the opposite wall right now that's with mirrors.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you very much. You may sit down. We'll
Thank you so much.
see if anybody has comments on this application in the audience. Please come up and state your name and address.
Hi, good evening. I'm Carol Bebo, 1600 Washington, Wilmette. I'm the executive director and the founder of the Actors Training Center and the former owner of the Wilmette Theater. I think Jenna's energy and everything that she is talking about that she wants to bring to the village is what I had in mind 13 years ago when I started the Actors Training Center. We have grown quite a bit, but I would say that what we have brought to the village in terms of people outside the village coming in and spending money is pretty significant. We hear constantly, I didn't know this was such a cool place. I didn't know it was so cute. Parents come, they drop off their kids, they shop, they eat, they go get a glass of wine. And I think that between the new tenant of Wild Child, which is fantastic, Lad and Lassie, the Actors Training Center, and it's a great addition to have another art and kids-centric. I know from being a 30-year resident, I can see all these young families. I'm now like the old lady on the block, and all these young families are coming in. I cannot see any reason that it wouldn't be an advantage to the downtown village. And often for parking for us, very often, and I think it'll be the same for Jana, parents will drop their kids off and then they'll find a place to park, whether it's in the Burmeister lot. They don't need to park right in front of the space. They're willing to drive around. It's just, for my parents, and we have 150 kids a term, our classes run 12 to 15. We have never heard a complaint that they can't find a place to park. You have an advantage that they can come out the back. So I would just like to give our full support from the Actors Training Center. She's been an amazing tenant. The space is always clean. She's very respectful, and she's an amazing artist. So they have our full support at the Actors Training Center. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please come up and.
Hi, I'm Carlene McAllister, 323 Wilshire Drive East in Wilmette. I'd just like to support Jana also in the use for this space, and I really hope that you recommend that she gets to use it for two big reasons. One is, as a resident here for 18 years, I think I agree it would be a great addition to the downtown, and the other is just a great addition to the community. My son took classes from Jana when she was teaching at Foster, and I can say that she is a great teacher. She's so great with kids, super responsible. And I've taken classes at the Actors location where she is right now. Maybe you've seen us. No? Because dance classes don't really make a huge splash on the environment. And parents don't usually watch a class. It's nothing more embarrassing than having a parent sit there and watch you dance. So I don't really see that space being used as like a huge, traffic issue but in terms of living here, my big concern is seeing all these spaces in the downtown going vacant. So I just hope this doesn't turn into the kind of thing we had when I moved here 18 years ago. People weren't even able to get alcohol licenses and had to give up, and it caused a real problem not being able to have a vibrant restaurant scene. So, I mean, there's already a martial arts studio across the street from this. There's restaurants, and it seems like it would just fit right in. And so those are the big reasons. Again, I think Jana's going to be amazing running this business, so responsible, great with the kids and the adults, if you want to take a class. And I think it's going to be a good addition to the downtown, which really just desperately needs ongoing support when we have so much devastation from the online retail side of things. So, thanks a lot.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Julie Cohn. I have a women's clothing and jewelry store called Hubba Hubba at 1101 Central, a couple doors down for where Jana is proposing. I've been in town for 4.5 years. I grew up in Wilmette. I've seen it go from sleepy to how vibrant it is now. And I think a dance studio would be absolutely fabulous for the amount of foot traffic it would bring. And I definitely find, like in terms of the Wilmette Theater, there are times I don't get Wilmette residents shopping. I get people who come from outside communities to go to the theater. So I feel the same way for this dance studio. What was currently in that spot, I took classes there, and you never went in and out of the front door. It was always the back way. So I don't know if you knew that from them. So we all were trained to use that, and it was really easy for parking and such. I think that particular landlord is incredibly accommodating to his tenants, and the fact that he's even proposed that just shows you he's willing to work to make it very amicable. I've had only but great experiences with him, and I like seeing all these storefronts full, and I think that would not only be full, but it would bring lots of other people from surrounding areas. So I support it, and let's dance. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else wants to speak?
How y'all doing?
Good evening.
My name is Verdant Nolan, 1660 Sunset Ridge Road in Northbrook. Have been coming to Wilmette here, taking my daughter to classes with Jana for a little over a year now, and she's been dancing with Jana for 4 years? Oh my gosh, almost 4 years. I think Wilmette's doing a great job. I kind of had no idea how awesome it was down here until I started coming here for the, dropping my daughter off. Funny enough, actually, with the spa, I probably spent about $400 with you guys because I'm stuck for a couple hours and I'm like, I'm going to get a massage. Been down to the restaurants. Pescadero's doing great. Really liking the pizza joint. Nick's, now there's karate. There's a wine place. The nuns are on the corner slinging organic pastries. It's good. And I think really what you're seeing is these are experience-driven businesses that, you just can't stay at home and get Jana Dance, Skunkworks Dance. You guys may not be aware of this, but she's, when she says this pre-professional stuff, but she brings a high level of art, and she's really pushing these kids to express themselves on a deep level. And she does these wonderful dance performances, and she brings in actually professional dancers as well to perform in these like intimate settings. And I tell you, you have to go into the city to find some of this stuff that she's doing. And it's really, really, really cool. So I hope you guys approve it. If the landlord's willing to pay for a sound wall, kind of makes sense to me, and as long as that's, I understand your concerns, you got to make sure it does get up there. I have a building with a drop ceiling, and the sound just carries over the top. But I think if these things are met, I don't see why this really couldn't work. And so yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Keep going with Wilmette. I mean, it's really nice in the downtown.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks.
Anyone else? Please.
Hi, I'm Cassie's sister. I'm Ivy Liu, and
my name is Cassie Liu.
Okay, I'm here to help her because she does not speak very well English, Okay, and we're very, native speak English, so please just try your best to understand us. So Casey came from China to here like 3.5 years ago. She's a single mom with her kids, 14 years old, and this is her only living income. Okay, and she's rental the house. Okay, so what I want to say is this is only her living source, and she made this business really, really hard. I hope you understand how hard for the new business. Like her, she can find any place and she can make a pretty good living. But for her, this business is so hard to build up, and she gets finally around 2,000 customers that they love her space. They love her spa. So for 5 days, she gets 95 customers to stay to support her, because definitely spa customer, they want quiet and relaxing and affordable spa service. I'm sorry. So I hope you can support her. Okay. We try to work with other people, okay, if any business, but it's only thing if they can final or prove that they are not going to disturb her business, that's we're going to be fine with anything, any business to come to be the neighbor. But only thing that is we just want to have her business to keep going. She can have her living income, then she can have her family here. That's all we ask.
So there was previously a dance studio there.
That is yoga meditation. It's totally different.
Okay, totally different.
Yeah, body, yeah.
So did you have any issues or any noise issues with that at all?
不是佢有以前佢有問題，佢有 noise，佢有從他們那邊
8 o'clock. They're working almost 8 o'clock to the 10 o'clock.
No，佢有雜音從他那邊過來。
You over.
Okay, so they have a little bit noise before, but not much.
I open my business from 10 to 9, but almost their customers do the working from 8 to 10 o'clock the morning. So when I open, they finish.
Who's the tenant? Is there another tenant on the other side of where you're at?
Previous tenants, they were the meditation and yoga, I believe.
Well, what about on the other?
Other side is the pizza Big
place.
Tomato.
Yeah. So do you have any problems with noise for them or fumes or anything? Does your place smell like pizza?
Exactly. Their business not very good, so they just the Friday afternoon. They open 4 o'clock.
Oh, okay.
The Friday afternoon is little. Then some like the children talking, but they put the music down. He talking with me, and put it down, so make the customers talking lower. So it's a.
Do you smell the pizza from next door?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay. Because if you didn't smell it, that would mean that it's pretty well soundproofed.
他说如果你闻不中的话，它的那个隔音的效果。
它那个是钉上的，好像那个都是铜器的。Ceiling is a same
ceiling and the wall goes up like this?
Only the
building is the same ceiling and the same basement. So when the customer walk on the restaurant, we can hear. Just walk, passing by so we can hear the customer walk.
Do you understand what they're proposing in the way of a wall between the space?
We are not architecture, so we try to understand, but I mean, we hope there's the way they can do it, but we don't know because that is really pretty old building.
Yeah.
And all the ceilings went through all the buildings, and the basement is also empty, and there's no soundproof currently.
If the soundproof, I'm an architect, if the soundproof is done properly and the right way and they figure it all out, it could be very loud and you might not hear anything. I designed a large apartment building and didn't want to have noise between the units, so we had it done the correct way. I designed it correctly so the noise wouldn't. We had it tested, and then it actually failed, and then I realized they didn't follow my drawings. But in the end, you can't hear anything. I mean, they had something that sounded like a cannon going off in the space next door. It was a machine brought in. So it really can, if he's willing, the landlord's willing to pay and do it properly, I think you'd be happy with it.
Has the landlord talked to you at all?
No, I try to help her to call landlord and try to call their management company. They always try to avoid us. Like I try to say, okay, if you want to choose some tenants, maybe we should not have the conflict. But anyway, they're just like, okay, we want this space to be rented out.
So they have not, they sent a letter or email to Ms. Bennett saying that they were going to soundproof, but they have not said anything to you about it.
She went to the Wesley property one time, and they say, okay, the owner was not there. The manager was not there. Then I made a phone call. I said, okay, my sister really need help. This is only her income resource, and I want them to be sure that her business is not going to be closed later.
Mm-hmm. And what did they say?
No answer. And they say, yeah. Then I make another phone call, then talk to, what's her name? A lady that is her agent, Eva. Okay, Ivan. Okay, Ivan. Then she said, okay, the owner tried to make a soundproofing. Then I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what's happened.
So Yvonne told you that?
Yeah, Yvonne told me. Finally, after 4 weeks she went there, I made the 3 phone calls. Yeah, finally returned.
Is Yvonne the owner or the owner's
Yvonne
representative?
is her listing agent.
I see.
So how would this be monitored in the future, Lisa? I mean, they build the wall. I mean, it just becomes a landlord-tenant issue. The village is not involved.
The village is not qualified to determine whether the proposed soundproofing is effective or how much would be effective. I mean, there's professionals you can have to come out and test it and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And I would assume, you can have an engineer stamp it, but we would not be able to do that.
Yeah.
They would provide drawings to the village for the building permit.
That would be my.
And on those drawings, there will be specifications regarding that wall, correct?
Yes.
Now, as part of providing the permit, will the village engineer opine at all as to the efficacy of that soundproofing?
I would not expect so.
No.
The plan reviewer may have some experience with that. He did commercial plan review in Evanston, but he's not an acoustic engineer and can't be
but they wouldn't
relied
take
on
the
for that.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Any other questions for?
No.
Thank you.
We understand your concerns. We're just trying to balance the two situations.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, please.
So the studio that Jen is renting from us right now, our storefront studio, is next to Eleni's Beauty Parlor, and we put up sound panels for a different reason, because we have musical theater classes in there. The sound was bouncing, and we have not had any problem with Eleni's complaining about. I think sound panels will definitely help the situation. We were right next to her, so I feel pretty confident, right? She didn't complain. Yeah. Not at all. So I think sound panels,
Well, I think the difference is going to be if the wall goes up to the underside of the
Yeah.
structure next door.
I wish,
That's
you know,
how-
our
that's
landlord
how it
didn't
has
offer to pay for our sound panels, so that's pretty lucky. But it has helped. I mean,
A lot of noise, believe it or not, comes from around electrical outlets.
yeah,
And switches and underneath the drywall, behind the baseboard. You know, the noises come there. It's not like it's going through the
Through the wall.
wall. The wall is dense, but it's all those little crack areas. That's why I asked if they could smell anything. So
And
that
they
would
said yes.
indicate that it would be, that it's pretty porous.
yeah. I just wanted to add that it did help our situation quite a bit.
Thank you. If you hear no other comments, I will close evidence for, sorry, anybody?
She wanted to say anything else?
Oh, yes, please. As applicant, you can have the last word.
Thank you. I just want to assure the board, I am a business owner who really believes in the village of Wilmette and bringing commerce up. I'm already a member of the Chamber of Commerce, as well as you can tell, I've partnered with Actors Training Center. I already know Julie, we've talked about events. I'm not here to try to stop that business from having a wonderful massage business. And I can guarantee you that, like I said, I've already talked to 2 really big contractors with great reviews who've done this before in similar businesses, and even asked me about those ceiling questions, and felt very confident that they would have no problem. I would be happy if the board felt necessary that we could have an outside inspector to come in and take a look at that if need be as well. I'm very open to wanting to make sure that this works for everyone. And I just want to ensure you that, you know, when Skunk Works comes into the city of Wilmette, what we're really bringing is money and funding back into this community. If you can't tell, I am a young entrepreneur who's extraordinarily passionate and really hardworking. And what we're bringing is something that's going to be here for more than 5, more than 10, more than 15 years upon years, and a business that, just like the Actors Training Center has done, that Wilmette will be able to take pride in. So I thank you guys, and I hope you guys vote in favor.
I just have one. You want to go?
Well, so we have this email to you. Did you speak with Yvonne as well?
I did, yeah.
So, I mean, it seems to us like, at least to me, the issue is dealing with this. So it can either be dealt with by the landlord, and maybe in the lease, they're required to do it, or if they don't do it, are you willing to do it?
Well, we are
Soundproofing.
definitely willing. We talked to them about I'm willing to be doing some sort of sound reduction for sure. But I do have in written, you know, from the email that
Yeah,
they're
but
willing
this
to
isn't
do
a
it.
contract. This is a gratuitous gesture,
Right.
which may or may not be followed
Yeah.
up on. So, you know,
I
there are
have-
ways to make sure it's followed up on. Like I said, if it's in the lease that they have to do
Absolutely.
this, then that would be one way. Another way would be that you would meet certain requirements if the landlord didn't. And I think, at least from my perspective, I'd like to know before I vote that one of those things is going to happen.
Yeah, we are absolutely, and we even came up with a plan to do really great sound reduction before we even knew about this.
Have you signed the lease yet?
Yes.
So
And
that's not an option.
does that address the issue of soundproofing at all?
This did not come up at that time.
What types of dance? Is it solely ballet or?
So yeah, ballet, contemporary, urban dance. We also have break dance. We have musical theater, ballet for figure skaters, jazz, and like I said, we have a lot of adult programming as well.
I guess, you know, there's no, since you've already signed the lease, there's no way to really force that, but would you be willing, you know, with your verbal approval, if they had an issue to work with them and
Absolutely.
try to solve it?
Oh, absolutely. No, you know, and from my perspective, I have to say, I was actually really excited that we were next to a massage parlor. 'Cause I go, massage and dance. Like, I've been to the world of massage parlors. I'll be there like all the time. So I'm very agreeable and I'm very collaborative, and I'm really wanting to work with them.
Did it's not, I guess it's not our purview, but you've gotten pricing from the contractors?
Yes.
And you're satisfied if you had to pay for that? If the
Yeah,
landlord didn't contribute, that you'd be able to pay for it?
I could definitely pay for a chunk of it.
Okay. Okay, but you've already gotten estimates, you know what the
Yeah,
potential
and they've
cost
and they've
is.
agreed to those. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have drawings already?
We don't have drawings yet. Those are coming. I'm meeting with Lucas on Thursday.
You obviously don't have a permit yet, right?
No, I'm meeting with Lucas on Thursday morning.
And the contractors you have are people that have done, it's really not,
Absolutely.
it's not sound masking, it's not other sound attenuation, it's really the sealing up of the wall. Have the contractors shown that they've done that? I mean, it's
Yep.
easy to put sound, like you were saying, I
If
can
both
put
of-
those on the wall, but to have an actual contractor that understands the sound and how it penetrates the wall, do the
Correct.
contractors?
They do. No, yeah, both of those actually, they asked me that question exactly. Like I said, they really specialize working with businesses. Chicago Renovations, Soundproof Noise Reduction Services. They both are very comfortable, confident, and have done this before.
And has seen the space.
They haven't seen the space yet, but they'll be coming out this week. But I've sent them pictures.
So this is interesting because you've already signed the lease and you have the email and insurance from the owner, but you don't really have anything in writing, and the owner is not soliciting the work. You are? You're getting the quotes from the contractors?
Currently, I'm getting the quotes from the contractors.
And then what's the process going to be?
So I'm going to go to Lucas on Thursday and find out what all the permitting needed and get right on that. Like I said, I'm looking to secure also a third option because I do want to present both the landlord and also if Melody Spa would like to take a look and find out and do their due diligence to find out about these people. And then I'm going to refer back to the landlord on how they would like to proceed forward.
I guess the thing I'm just curious about is typically before people come for a request like this before the board, the zoning board, they haven't signed a lease because that, now you're,
Get it.
if you don't get the approval from us and the village board, then what do you do? I mean,
We do
you've
have a
already,
contingency in our lease that,
that says you don't get a permit?
yeah.
Okay.
So, let me understand, you're going to be the tenant,
Yes.
and the landlord has given you permission to do tenant improvements as necessary?
Yeah, they've agreed to pay for a full soundproof wall along the adjacent wall.
Well, there's other work that needs to be done.
We don't have to do any other work because it's already built out as a dance studio, just paint.
Okay. All right, any other questions, comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Anything else you would like to add?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, having heard from everyone, I will now close the evidence, and do I have a motion?
I'll move to make the motion. Move to recommend granting a request for special use for an art studio / dance studio at 1111 Central Avenue in accordance with the plan submitted. Zoning board must determine if the special use should run with the land or the use.
The use.
The use. The use, yes.
With the use, sorry.
Second.
Second. Okay, Mr. Pelleton?
I was just reading what the.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is an interesting case. I have actually bought gift certificates, and my wife and son gone to the Melody Spa and recommended it to friends. 4 years ago, I came before this board and was in your position and testified on behalf of Fonseca Martial Arts and because I thought that what they brought to the village and a level of professionalism and what they offered was different than what was offered anywhere else. And I see a lot of similarities with what you're proposing here. And in my past, I have actually built out a couple of psychiatrist offices, as well as worked on the dance studio at Francis Parker School, which needed to be soundproofed from the other classrooms. And it certainly can be done. I want to assure you that it is possible to do that. But it takes somebody who knows what they're doing And it may very well be that once it's done, that you hear some noise and that the contractor or some other modifications have to be done to make it to increase its efficacy. That said, I was curious. The reason I asked about the dance styles was because I was concerned about the floor. And if you said you hear the footsteps, I don't know if you feel the footsteps, but that would be that could be an issue as well, since it's one continuous floor and one continuous space is what it sounds like from the testimony that we've received.
Oh, sorry.
However, I think I am inclined to recommend granting this. My biggest hang-up is the fact that we don't have the landlord here, and we don't have any real way of compelling the landlord to do this. Other than not granting it, in which case the landlord, might be then motivated, and they could come back and try again. In any event, those are my thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think the whole concept that you're promoting here and that you want to bring into the village, I have no issues with that at all. I think it's a great idea, and, I would assume you'd be very successful. So I really believe, you have another business that may or may not be impacted. We're trying to assess that. I think that, the other landlord was here. I think your landlord is kind of abdicating. They could have been here and said we would do this, and that would put everyone at ease. They're not here. They didn't say that. It's not part of your lease. Your class size is going to be about 3.5 students going to 4.5. The Melody Spa has produced sheets of customers' signatures supporting their position. They have an established business. They have a much larger customer base. They have a lot that could potentially put at risk, which the landlord could have eased everyone's mind, and they didn't. So that creates an issue for me. And I guess I'd like to hear what everybody else has to say. But on balance, I think the established business deserves the, kind of, that we take what they say, could be a problem for them, and see if there's, if somebody couldn't satisfy us, that this was going to be done, then that would, put me kind of in one direction. But if not, I agree with Mr. Pelleton. Maybe if you weren't approved, that would force the landlord, if they wanted to rent you the space, to put in writing what they would do. So,
I had a question for Lisa. Since there is this issue, and I understand we don't want to hurt the spa business, and I think your business would be a great business for there, and it's great that you've got the energy and so interested in being in Wilmette and being in that spot, but we have to protect the adjacent tenants. Will your use impact them? Is there a way that they could continue this and then have the landlord come so they don't get a negative, a potential not vote tonight that they wouldn't be happy with?
Yeah, we could do one of two things. As you mentioned, it could get a negative recommendation, and then they could go to the village board, and the landlord could either address it with the village board or remand back to the zoning board. Or if the applicant's comfortable asking for a continuance tonight, they can come back January 15th or February, or, when.
I would imagine if they send their lease, their clock is ticking on when they need to take the space. I guess, what do the other members think?
I don't think they have much leverage, having signed the lease.
They have an escape clause if they don't get the special use.
So if the zoning doesn't approve it, then they're out. So I think it would be beneficial for them to know that the landlord is really backing them, to make sure. Otherwise, you might be stuck with the bill.
Not only that, we have no way of retroactively enforcing
exactly.
anything. So.
Yeah. Do you?
I hear what all of you are saying, and I tend to agree. I would like to be able to approve this, but considering the uses between the two tenants, they're so different. One is clearly requires a sense of calm and quiet, and the other one is rightfully so, is very loud and so forth. And I think the owner of this building should acknowledge that and have made a commitment to us that the necessary provisions will be made to shield the adjoining use, not from all noise, but from an overbearing amount of noise, a noise that would interfere with the operation of the spa. And so I'm reluctant to. Not sure I can support this. I had hoped that the landlord would be here to support or to guarantee that they will make the necessary provisions to shield the noise. Any other comments?
No. Only that I took dance when I was 5 years old in a little red leotard. So
you have pictures?
Yeah, no.
I have three. At least one of my grandchildren is at a place called Kaleidoscope. I don't know if you guys know the place on Church Street. It's just a dance thing. It's at a strip mall, and it gets fairly noisy as the music goes on. So I can understand the concern.
Well, do you have a preference of either continuing it or having us vote and then dealing with it at that point in time?
Do you understand the options?
I do understand.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to do a continuance, if that's available.
Would you come up and request that, please?
I think that's the best solution to protect you as well, to make sure it gets done properly.
So I'd like to do a continuance and bring the landlord in for whatever our next meeting would be.
January 15th.
January 15th.
So for case number 2019 Z45, move to continue this matter until January 15th, 2020.
Seconded?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, so we continue to January 15th.
And I would say for you ladies, that is probably a good thing for you, because it seems like Ms. Bennett is looking to ensure that the landlord is going to do the work that is specified, which is what we're looking for. And if they do that, then hopefully you won't have any problems with them, and everybody will be successful. Good luck to you.
Move to approve the minutes of the Zoning Board of Appeals for Wednesday, November 20th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's approved.
Move to approve the minutes for the Zoning Board of Appeals for Wednesday, December 4th, 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.